Here we go, y'all. Yo, I love sitting down with certain guests, and this man right here, I love his vibe, I love his aura, but most importantly, I love the fact that he ain't one of them dudes who just talk that talk. He one of those dudes who lived it and lived it all the way. He walks that walk 100%. Please welcome back to VladTV, my brother, Sergeant Nicholas Irving. Nick, what up?
What's going on? I appreciate you having me back on, man.
Come on, Nick. You knew you was going to be a staple in the building from day one. The first time you gave that interview, you blew up the internet. Everybody was happy. We was like, we got to bring this brother back.
I didn't expect it, though. I did not expect it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 100%. I grew up, but I've watched VladTV, in my earlier years, and I never would have expected to be on, let alone, to have like the impact and watching the video be shared and stuff like that, the clips or whatnot being shared online and TikTok. It was weird scrolling through social media and like, that guy looks familiar, and seeing my face on it was weird, but I appreciate it.
Nah, I mean, you got one of them stories that's riveting. Like we all go to the movies, and we go to the movies because we want to be entertained. But your freaking life, I'm not saying it's entertainment, but your life, listening to it, it's riveting. It literally has you clinging to every one of your words. And I think for that matter, people were just so impacted by your story, but more important, you're super poised. It's like
yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's I think having lived it, I've had that dream since I was a kid, so I actually haven't lived it, and I don't know, it just feels like partly a dream, and the other part I think that contributes to who I am now is like the family lifestyle. Having a kid nowadays, and it's mainly like the kid.
How old's your son now?
7, just turned 7 November.
Nice.
Yeah, 7,
nice.
So yeah, it's weird.
Okay, so for a person like you, what does having a son really do for you?
Oh my gosh. They can do 2 things. For me, it can like bring you back down from that guy you used to be in the military, that strict guy, or it could carry on. But the other half is like just being a dad. It's hard to describe. It's like a little mini me, but it's hard to put myself back into a 7-year-old's mindset. So when he's being a smart mouth or having his little issues, it's hard for me to bring myself back down from who I am to a 7-year-old's mindset. So it's a game, I guess, but it keeps me on my toes. It's never stagnant being a dad.
Yeah.
So I'll find solace in that, I guess.
Nah, being a parent is one of the most enjoyable experiences that we will ever have.
Stressful too, though.
Extremely stressful.
My hair is falling.
Come on, man, your hair falling out. I'm looking at you.
Coming in. It's stressful.
So speaking of parents, and I want to just go backwards to familiarize people with just a bit of your story, and then we'll work on up into what's going on today. Your parents were in counterintelligence.
That's right.
What exactly did they do?
They would intercept communications during the Cold War. So with Russia or the Soviet Union, they would intercept like Morse code signals, radio signals, decipher them. And I don't know what they did with the information after that. I just knew they were stealing it, deciphering it, decoding it, and sending it off to somewhere else, I believe like the NSA during that time.
What branch of the military were they in?
They were in the Army too.
Both?
Both of them, yeah.
So
my dad trained my mom when she was a new recruit or new, I don't know what you would call her. She was a new soldier coming in to learn the counterintelligence field, and my dad trained her up, and it was like all she wrote after that. I popped out. Then we moved to Florida, Orlando, or I forget where it was, in Pensacola, Florida.
Pensacola, gotcha.
Yeah.
Got you. One of the greatest boxers to ever lace up a pair of gloves is from Pensacola,
Who?
Florida. Damn. Roy Jones Jr.
Roy Jones Jr. Okay, yeah. My brother used to box with Roy Jones Jr.
No way.
Yeah, I didn't know I had a brother. I thought he was my friend when I first met him. We were like 3 or 4 years old. I didn't find out he was my brother till a little bit later on, and we got back in contact. And yeah, come to find out he was he's like been in the streets and stuff like that. But to get him out, Roy Jones Jr. had I guess caught wind of him, and he was boxing, training up with Roy Jones for a little bit, but then fell back into the street lifestyle.
Now, Roy Jones is one of the best that ever did it.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Captain Hook.
There you go.
Yeah.
He did it. He made it look easy.
Oh, yeah.
My God. Okay. You know something. And I believe it was the first time I ever spoke to you. You said you was inspired to join the service after watching Charlie Sheen's Navy SEAL movie. I didn't get a chance to ask you then, but how accurate was that movie? I know it inspired you to join the service, but how accurate was that movie?
Terrible. Not
Terrible?
accurate. It was not accurate at all. It was the flair and all the cool guy stuff that I guess it appealed to me, but what they were doing and the equipment they had was all like I'd never seen any of it. It was far off from like Hollywood makes it look fun, extravagant, this always on the edge lifestyle, but it really isn't like that. It's what you see in the movies is like 1% of a guy who does that job. Like what they actually do, like 1% of it. Most of this stuff is really boring, to be honest with you. You're doing a lot of repetitive missions, repetitive tasks, and it all kind of bleeds together. You got that 1% to where you get the movie scenes where the explosions, the rockets, dudes jumping out of planes, getting blown up. It's like 1% of that. But luckily, not luckily, but like 2009, that 1% happened like every single night for my last deployment for like 4 months straight. Just about 4 months.
That 1%.
Yeah, it was intense. It caused a lot of guys to get out. It changed people's perceptions and on life too. I watched atheists become preachers after that deployment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
2 of them, yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you're not just saying that, like you literally.
Oh, yeah. Guys who didn't believe anything, that deployment messed a lot of people up. It was such a small group that to have all that stuff happen in a 12-hour time span was that intense, like big time. I was talking to one of my guys last week, reached out to him, or he reached out to me, and we had, went back into the topics of, that last deployment, that last mission that we did. And it was, it sticks with guys forever. And to us, it feels like yesterday or last week. I can still see things, smell things, but yeah, it changed everybody's. If you were a part of that mission, it changed your life in a good way or a bad way. Some guys killed themselves too.
So why is it that some guys can come back home and assimilate into society, and other guys, it just feels like no matter what, they're always haunted by the past. They're always living by, in your case, 2009. Is there something that guys like yourself who have found a way to move on have done differently than others who, and I say this with all humility, but have eaten a bullet, who taken a bullet themselves?
Man, I think that's the thing that they don't train for. You don't train for, you don't get training for it, how to cope. I think it's just how you personally deal with things. It's not, it differs with everybody. Like they train you up to be able to do a job like that, but after the fact, it's kind of, you got to figure it out on your own. You can go seek help, but during your entire time in the military, you're told not to seek help, or when you're asked certain questions on a psychological evaluation test when you get back, you're told to mark, no, I didn't see this, I didn't do that, just so you can go home early. So you're kind of, brought up in that mindset to not show any of that weakness until you get out. And it's some guys can cope, some guys cannot. I don't think anybody does cope 100%. I think it messes with everybody throughout the board, but it's how we express it. Some guys are really good at hiding it. I was really good for years after I got out of, I'm fine or I'm doing good, but not really though. It's just that some guys compartmentalize certain things and can deal with it. They feel like, or I felt like I was dealing with it on my own the right way.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's a tough battle. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm perfect now. Like there's days where I don't know what's going on, So it all depends on, I don't know. I have no idea. That's a tough one. Why some guys can cope and some guys cannot. It's a weird game. We got to play with our own mental state, We just hope we're playing it the right way.
Just random question for you. Does the government provide services for you guys after you're out? I know while you're in, you just mentioned, I guess they provide services, but you're told to actually lie.
Yeah.
So when you transition back into the real world, are there therapists that you are encouraged to go see? Are you encouraged to go through certain programs just to help you assimilate back into this world?
No.
Really?
No.
With all of the gunfire, all of the death, all of the war that you guys experienced, you're sitting here and you can tell me no.
100% no. You got to find it on your own. And even when you go out to find it, it's not the best quality. There's some people who just, at some points it feels like people don't care. It's just a check in the box just to get you out the door. Like after every deployment that I've done, out of the 6 deployments, you get back from overseas, you can be doing a mission and then 24 hours later, you're back at home walking through Walmart. Less than 24 hours later, it could be 18 hours. And when you get out, for my case in point, when I got out, it was you sign some paperwork, they give you a stack of documents, and you're on your way out the door. I was packing up a U-Haul truck with 2 German Shepherds, my wife, and we drove 23-something hours down to San Antonio, Texas. That was it.
That's it?
Yeah. Within a span of a few hours, I was Army one minute, civilian the next, and trying to, make a living out here. And for my case, it was a few months after I got out, I had to get a job. I was not going to live with, my wife's mom at all. And I'm just not that type of guy to, move in with people like that. So I picked up the same job that I just was doing in the Army, but just on the private side. So I did private military contracting, this organization called Triple Canopy. If people are familiar with Blackwater, it's like that. Founded by some Navy SEALs. And we did work overseas in Iraq and Baghdad, worked at the near and around the embassy, worked in the red zone of Baghdad, transporting and taking and escorting dignitaries, politicians, and stuff like that. Joe Biden, when he was the vice president at one point. And you're taking him through, Iraq to go have meetings to, I don't know what they were having. Well, I kind of do. Electrical stuff and setting up things to make money, It's a big money grab. But for me, it was back overseas. That's all I knew. So I didn't have really anything else to go to. I wasn't going to work at, Walmart. Nothing against it. It just wasn't, I wasn't in the right state of mind at that point. So
it's crazy. Okay, because it almost, and forgive me for saying this, but dudes who are locked up, like when they get out.
Yeah, same thing.
That's what it almost, like when I was listening to you, it almost felt like a dude who just came home.
Yeah, same thing. There's no difference. No, you would expect a little bit more because you're doing this job and supposedly for the, freedom of the nation or whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, you got to realize we're just pawns, and those are the most easiest ones to get off the board, sacrifice so the king and queen can stay alive, but highly expendable.
Damn. Okay, we're in a highly political season right now. This year, the United States will choose its next president. Everybody runs. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, Democrat, Republican, everybody runs, and they all are talking about our veterans, those who serve, those who give not just themselves, but they sacrifice leaving their families at home, this, that, and the third. How much of that is true talk from these politicians? And how much of that is just, I'm going to tell y'all what y'all want to hear?
That's all it is.
It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. I'm just going to tell you what you want to hear to get this vote. They don't believe any of that. The only person I could say that I was around for, I was during the Obama administration, during I went in 2004, so that was Bush at that time.
That was Bush, yeah.
Yeah, I did Bush, Obama, and the one that I can say helped the most as a veteran standpoint would have been Trump, though, of having the access to go out to seek help from outside providers, outside doctors, and the VA would front the bill. That was like the biggest game changer, I think, as far as actually sticking through with something. Was being able to go to any doctor you want to get outside treatment. That was the big one.
Okay, so Trump left office in 2020, I believe. Have you noticed a difference in the last 4 years, or in some of the policies that he put in place for you guys? Did they carry on through the Biden administration?
Somewhat, but they kind of got lax on it. It was like more, it wasn't how it was when he was in. It's been more of it's almost going back to the old ways where, guys are killing themselves inside their car, sitting out in the VA parking lot because they can't be seen or can't get help or anything like that. There's tons of videos like that. Guys breaking down, the help is not there. It was different for that 4 years, I can say that, when he was in. But the politician talk about all the things of veteran, and I turn it off at this point. I don't listen to any of it.
Really?
I don't know. You can't. You have to realize you're expendable. You're there to do a job, and that's just to, essentially just to progress the longevity of some politician's agenda. And whatever that agenda may be, that's what you're really used for. As much as I wanted to believe, and this is going to sound weird, I mean, there was a time and point I can say that maybe we were in defense of our country to help defend our nation, but you got to tell me why we went to Iraq, There was a bunch of lies about that made me question why we were there, why be there in the first place. And even with Afghanistan, if we wanted to attack anybody, I would have attacked Saudi Arabia or the Saudis, because that's who was essentially the ones who attacked us. And then Osama bin Laden used to work for the CIA too, so I don't know.
You just said something, and I want to stick here for a second. You said you saw real difference during the Trump administration. You have been around during the Bush administration, the Obama administration, obviously the Trump, and now Biden.
Yeah.
But Trump is where you saw
for veterans, yeah.
For veterans.
Real
difference at. Trump has been receiving, he's having the worst month ever. I know, right? Oh my God.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
This guy's having the worst month ever. The E. Jean Carroll case, he lost something like $83 million, or he is ordered to pay her $83 million. Just last week in the state of New York, he was ordered to pay something upwards of $380 million. Yeah. Is Trump in your opinion, is this, what goes around comes around? Or is this guy just totally misunderstood and, people are just trying to stick it to him while they have the chance?
I don't even think it's like being misunderstood. I think it's just a political game of a certain party or a certain outside force that we can't see wants to stay in power, and they're trying to do everything they can to disrupt that. I don't know for, what reasons. I just think that there's an outside force being applied that is controlling somewhat his destiny. are trying to control his destiny of where he's going to end up in this whole political presidential race. Whether he wins or loses, I don't really think it matters so much, though.
Why is that?
I think the agenda has already been set in stone. It's already, set in place. If just the things that are going on in the country today and the wars we're involved in, from, the Houthis to Syria, Iran, all these countries, Russia, Ukraine, there's so much going on right now that I think it's just that agenda that is being pushed for whatever reasons. I think we'll find out in the next couple years, though. I think it'd be a really interesting 2025, though. Yeah.
No, it's definitely going to be a very interesting 2025. No matter what side of the aisle you sit.
Yeah.
I believe, if Trump gets back in office, all things considered, Trump don't forget.
Yeah.
They talk about Biden's memory. Ain't nothing wrong with Trump's memory.
Right.
That guy got a memory like an elephant, and he does not forget and he does not forgive.
Yeah.
So I could see why there are many people who would not want that man back.
Yeah, looking at it from that perspective, yeah, definitely.
Trump is going to go scorched earth on a lot of people who he feel wronged him.
Right. You're right. I mean, I can't blame him. I think I would be the same way. If I felt attacked,
but you can't. You can afford to be that way. But the president of the United States,
you're right. Yeah,
that's a dangerous position to take.
Yeah, it turned out like JFK.
Yeah.
Could easily.
And I was talking to somebody, and essentially they were saying that even if Trump won, they feel as though it would be another JFK situation.
Okay, yeah.
Because America, a lot of people in high positions in this country can't afford for Trump to get back into office.
Which is scary, though.
Yeah.
That's scary to think about as the American people. It's kind of scary. Then it's like, is it really for the people or is it against the people? Whose agenda are we trying to fulfill? The American people's agenda? Or are we trying to fulfill some agenda that we can't see yet and we don't know what it's about or what's going on? Is it to inflate politicians' pockets or who knows what? But there's an agenda at play that we're not privy to. And I think that should scare all of us.
Well, I would tell you again, what scares me is knowing, Trump doesn't forget. He absolutely doesn't forgive. But I remember before Trump took office, he used to call her Crooked Hillary.
Yeah.
And Trump, if you can remember, he was calling for Hillary Clinton to be arrested behind that
on the first debate. Yeah.
Correct. He was like, she needs to be arrested, yada, yada. And everybody and their mother was like, it's un-American to have, somebody like a Hillary Clinton be arrested. And lo and behold, 6 years later, Trump has been arrested multiple times. Trump is literally going to court next month, March.
Really? For what?
On his first criminal case. So it's like, I know for him, he's like, yeah, everything y'all told me not to do, y'all are doing to me. So it's an interesting situation, but I don't know. I don't know that people sitting on the other side, they know if Trump takes that seat again, it's going to be holy hell to pay.
Yeah. And I think that's what scares them. And I think that's maybe why they're going so hard at him at this point. It's this year. We have election season coming up. They're trying to put the book to him probably and see what they can do to I guess, deter that or maybe potentially get him locked up. And at that point, he wouldn't be able to run. But then who would remain? I mean, what, Biden would automatically be the next president after that? Or...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he'd quote unquote automatically be the next president, but
he'd be up there.
It's definitely looking like it's going to be between Trump and Biden. Trump absolutely looks like he's going to be the Republican pick. Nikki Haley is not doing well, you know, even in her beloved South Carolina. The new numbers just came out. Trump is killing her. I think she has something like 39% of the vote. Trump is up over 60% of the vote. So it's you know, it's going to be hard to imagine that it's not going to be a Biden-Trump runoff.
I don't know. I think we need more than two parties, though. Two different, I guess, candidates to select from. We're always stuck with just the same. It feels like we're stuck with the same two, the same two regardless. And it's been, what, 8 years now before it'd be what, 8? Yeah, 8 years.
Yeah, but that's the way it always is in this country. I mean, it felt like, you know, we talked about Bush earlier. It felt like we couldn't get away from them Bushes and Clintons for like 20 years.
That's right.
It was always between them two. And then, you know, little Junior Bush came in. It's like, come on already.
And
then his brother
options.
Jeb tried to jump in. It's like, yo, at some point, we got to see some different names up there.
If not, it starts looking like the King and Queen of England dynasty.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. You know something? Switch topics with me for a second. And then it kind of stares back into where we're at right now. But there's a sniper motto: without warning, without remorse. Explain to me what that means.
Without warning, without remorse. Basically, as a sniper, there's no warning about what a sniper is about to do, about to take a shot. So for this target I'm about to shoot, for him, there's no warning behind it. It's just whenever I get the call or whenever I deem fit necessary, without warning, I take the shot without remorse. I shouldn't feel anything behind that. I don't do it with no regret, no remorse. I'm just without warning, without remorse. And from a place you will not see will come a sound you will not hear, if I'm right.
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Got
From
a tattooed
place
on
you
my...
will not see comes a sound you will not hear. Damn.
I believe that one more so than I believe without warning, without remorse, though. I don't know. Some people can say they've taken a life and haven't felt anything. Me personally, I've never been in that situation. From a machine gunner to a designated marksman to a sniper, I've never shot someone and not felt anything. That's I don't see how someone couldn't feel anything. If you don't, you're just a cold dude, and maybe you should seek a little bit of help. I don't know. There's something missing in there. You got to have a soul at the end of the day. You have to. And I think some of it's just tough talk too. I don't think that no one goes out of or takes a life and feels absolutely nothing about it. This just, I don't believe that, no.
You know, you just said something that I didn't realize. You said we get the call. Is that the way it really goes down in the real world? You literally are on standby, you know, because when you said that, I'm just thinking that you guys are, you know, just on call waiting for the phone to ring. Like, how does that actually work?
It depends. It depends. If we're engaged in contact, I don't have to ask for permission. But if I'm looking at a guy, I'll give you an example. We were in Afghanistan and going through this province, the Marja or Helmand province, little place called Marja. And there were Taliban commanders lined up on a road. I had no idea they were Taliban commanders at the time. They just had some weird looking chest rigs I hadn't seen before. I knew they were fighters and they were armed. But they were all lined up in the road. And before I shot, I had to ask my ground force commander, am I cleared to shoot? And he made a phone call or a radio call back to our tactical operations command, the TOC center, or the JOC, asked for permission clearance. And once I was cleared hot to engage is when we started engaging. But like I said, I had no idea who they were prior to that. It wasn't until after the fact we were using equipment and assets that allowed us to track what happened to the bodies, and we watched them get picked up and buried a few days later, a couple of days later. And radio chatter, picking up on that, we were able to find out, these guys were in charge of this little region in that area, collecting tax from the opium trade or the poppy trade out there.
You know, you get these calls.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been on the other end of the line and you're like, nah, like
Oh, no.
you're literally calling me to take somebody out? Why? Have you ever even questioned that order?
No. We normally get a package. So before we go out, we have this mission brief and we know who we're going after. They have a history on him, all the bad things he's done, phone calls he's made, things he's been associated with. So you already kind of get an idea that this guy's a bad guy. Whether it's true or not, I have no idea. But back then, it wasn't my job to question. I just believed what I was told, and whether it was right or wrong, I have no idea. But in my mind, he was a bad guy. So it just makes it easier to, if you told me this guy was a fatherly guy, preacher who's done absolutely nothing wrong, I don't think I would. Well, I probably would have still shot him if I was told to. At this day and age now, I wouldn't. But back then, you're also under the mindset of, you get this, it's like a test. We'll call it like a test or a question on a test. If you have 4 guys lined up, one's a machine gunner, one's a rocket guy, one's a medic, and one's the chaplain. Who are you going to shoot first? Who would you shoot first?
The machine gun?
As a sniper would shoot the chaplain first.
Really?
The preacher, yeah, demoralizes the entire unit. If the sniper is willing to take out a man of God or whatever, the guy who's doing nothing, then imagine what he's going to do to anyone else. So you demoralize that unit by killing the guy of faith. You take him out first. That's the thinking and mindset of a sniper.
Speaking of mindset, have you or any of your sniper buddies ever taken out somebody as innocent as a chaplain and had a breakdown? Like, I just can't do this job anymore?
No. I've shot someone that I felt I had to take a moment. I felt a little sad about, I guess. Yeah. And that's only because I heard his mom crying I was up on their rooftop and he decided to go do his thing. And first shot, I had heard ruckus going on. I heard them trying to engage this guy, but the way he was running through the woods and yeah, I guess you would call it the woods, equivalent to woods here in America. They have like growth of sporadic trees and stuff like that. But yeah, bullets were impacting the tree trunks and the trees out there, and he wasn't getting hit. And I had a clear line of sight. He was running directly away from me in his blue, call it a man dress. First shot, I missed. Just wasn't having like a good stable position. So I got down on a knee, took a breath, shot again. I squared him up right in my scope. And when I shot the second time, he just disappeared. And I was like, not weird. It just wasn't, I was expecting to see something still a little bit, but he just was gone. Climbed off the rooftop. The guys were going to go take pictures of the dead body with the AK. And like, he didn't just disappear. He had a hole in his back and a big gaping hole in his chest, and squirting blood all over the little bush he was laying next to. But I heard his mom crying. So I climbed off the rooftop and I sat down on this fallen like branch, a fallen log, tree log. And I sat down on that and looked at this guy, call him M. And I was like, damn, dude, that sucks. And he was like, oh, don't worry about it. And that was like as far as the conversation went. It hurt me more than, yeah, it just hurt. That was the only one that I could say, actually, I felt something of like sadness on that one. Or as close as I came to crying.
You know, you just said something else that made me remember a prior conversation you and I had.
Mm-hmm.
You said they went and took pictures of the body. Is that like normal practice?
Oh, yeah.
So is that the way you guys can conclusively say he has 37 confirmed kills, 33, 105 confirmed kills?
Yeah. So you go up, you want to make sure you're not like out there just committing murder. So you want to go up, take a picture, lay out all his AK, his ammo, his suicide vest, whatever it may be. You lay it out, take photos of it, and that way you're just like covered. But it also gets called up to, hey, my call sign was Sierra. Mike Sierra, and a number. Mike Sierra, 1 EKIA, 1 enemy killed in action. And that number gets called up and documented. You bring back the pictures and just to, have that on your side, I guess. But there's only one time we really didn't have, there's been a few times we couldn't take pictures just because the speed at which we were moving and we had an objective to get to at a certain time. And the other time was I helped call in 105 howitzer rounds from an AC-130 gunship, and I think we killed, I have to look at the award. I think that day I killed 5 in the wood line. I helped blow up 5 in the wood line. But when we went up there to go check them, it was like slipping on a butt cheek and a foot. And I remember they were telling, our commander was like, hey, we have to put the bodies, not together, but we want to see how many bodies there were. So there's a half a head there. And after a while, it just got like, oh, you can't put all this back together again. It's like Humpty Dumpty. And it was just a round estimate. Like, okay, this is about 5 guys. We knew it was around 5, but.
Okay, so you just caught me off guard with something. I didn't realize you. I mean, it's one thing to be behind the barrel of that gun and take that shot. I thought there was a whole other branch of the guys out there who go and they take the pictures and you never see the pictures, you never see the damage that you have actually caused because in some cases you're a football field away.
Yeah.
You're telling me that there are times when you personally go to see the damage that you have done?
Oh, yeah.
Get the heck out of here.
There was the one guy in the blue man dress. I kept his picture.
Hold on, you actually have.
No, I don't have it anymore.
But I'm saying you get copies of the pictures too.
Yeah, I printed it out on.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, at the end of our deployments, I don't know if I'll. At the end of our deployments, it was every body who we killed was it was a lot. We killed a lot. I think one deployment, my battalion had average, we killed over 1,000 people in like 3 months. So,
okay, so why would you, and I'm asking you, I'm looking at you right in your face, why would you even want to keep a copy of that picture? Now, we've all seen serial killer movies or heard about, like right here in New York City, they have the Gilgo Beach guy, and they're known for keeping quote unquote trophies.
Yeah.
Why would somebody in your position want to see the damage, number one, but number two, even want to keep a picture of this thing?
During that time in the deployment was a bad time, I guess. 1, 2, and it was because I missed that one, and the distance was not necessarily so far away. I think it was the angle and me rushing the shot, but I wanted to see, one, where I hit him at, what it looked like. I had never, I guess, seen the damage like that up close, or I don't know, it was a pretty good exit hole from a hollow tip 308 round that I kept. I kept it for like a day and got in trouble for it and was told to, hey, you can't do that. And I wasn't keeping it for like a psycho way. It was just like trying to figure out, it's like when you're in sniper school or training, we have these notebooks and it's called dope books, your data of previous engagement. So when you're shooting a paper target, you can mark where my bullet hit, where this was at, and you can keep track of, during this day, it was 75 degrees, the barometric pressure was 29.75, the wind was blowing from this direction at this many miles per hour, this is my altitude, all these things factor in. So when I pull the trigger, that's where the bullet went, this is where I thought it would go, but this is where it went. That way we can adjust accordingly if that situation arises again. When you're in combat, you don't necessarily have a data book or a dope book. For me, during that engagement, my dope book, my target was a literal a guy who I just engaged with a bullet hole. I thought I squared him up right in his spine, but I hit him like over his shoulder and it popped out his chest, and you could see like the heart a little bit where it was pumped and squirted out like a water hose of blood, just sprayed on a bush.
Even as you're talking, You got my mind racing. Somebody like you who is clearly a deadly sniper, is there ever a quote unquote warning shot? Do you ever like I'm gonna just let this dude know I'm here, like
More
get the F out of here?
Yeah, more times than you can imagine. That was 2009. We were underneath these really weird rules of engagement, and to me it felt like they were having us fight with our hands behind our back. You couldn't drop bombs at certain points, you couldn't engage at certain points. The dumbest thing that I think that I was told as a sniper was, before you engage, was to first shine your laser on them, because we had little red dot lasers, and you could point at your target, whatever you intend on shooting, to a certain, distance, but you would shine your laser at them first. If that didn't work, then you would shoot at them next, but you would put the bullet to where they could hear the pop, the snap, to let them know I'm shooting at you. And at that point, if they continue to do what they're doing, is when you take the fatal shot. But I've sent dozens of warning shots.
So if you have to give a percentage, what percent of the people who you have given a warning shot to, like, look, I got you in my scope.
Mm-hmm.
I'm literally giving you a chance to get out of here with your life.
2 people.
2 people left?
Did not continue what they were doing. They didn't get killed.
Out of all the people you've given a warning shot to,
2 people.
Only 2 people said, yo, F that, I'm out of here.
Yeah, one guy was running, and I remember I shot at his feet. He was running I was preventing him from going to where my guy, an assault team, was at. I didn't want this guy to run and interfere with what they were doing. He wasn't armed, so I just shot at his feet, and he stopped. Another guy was like from the distance, like me to the, I don't know, maybe 100 feet or so, and I shot the wall that he was running across or running in front of, and I shot in front of him, and the wall, and he stopped there, and he didn't do what he was doing. So there was only 2 people.
Okay, so this is your world. It ain't Sean Prez's world. You're in the trenches. What could make a man, if you literally shoot 2 feet from this man's body, he knows that whoever's out there, I don't see him.
Yeah.
I don't know where this bullet came from, but I know he's out there. I understand the rules of this game. If I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to be a dead man in less than 5 minutes. Explain to me the psyche of the 98% of the people who kept doing what they were doing and you had to take them out. Why would they do that?
War. You're in a war. To them, they believe like Allah's will. So it's in whatever Allah believes is going to happen, whether he wanted it to or not. So if to him, his belief, if Allah did not want him to die that day, it didn't matter what I did. I can keep shooting at him and I would still miss. But it just never turned out that way. Their belief system was just a little bit different than ours, a little weird. They believed that if you lay underneath the blanket, that the drones overhead could not see you. The rockets wouldn't hit them. They'd fall off of a bike and duck underneath this black blanket or sometimes and hope that they wouldn't be seen, but they don't understand the concept behind night vision, infrared, thermals, all these things. They don't understand the concept of that. So their belief system was just a little bit off. It was weird at times. If I were in their shoes, I would have definitely stopped, because just the amount of firepower and technology that we had over them, it was kind of like a one-way fight. Most of the firefights I've been in have always been one way. It was just my last deployment where I felt equally matched at times, where my ego got checked and I was like, I'm not who I thought I was. This guy's actually good. And it was the first time I ever had that encounter. Other times, the other 5 deployments, we were all like mainly one-sided firefights. They didn't stand a chance. I knew I was going to come out on top, or we were all going to come home. Unless it was a IED or something like that. But firefights, yeah, we were definitely going to win.
Again, we're in a highly political season right now.
Mhm.
What do you, because somebody's gonna watch this interview and they're gonna hear your story and may not even know your backstory. What do you say to people who don't understand war and they just look at you and call you a murderer?
Yeah, been called that.
Have you ever been called that to your face?
Not to my face, no.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
just in the comment section. That's where it's safe. I can't say they're as mad as I would like to get. I can't say that they're wrong for that, though. I mean, essentially, that's what we're doing. Stuff I've been told, psychopath, serial killer, all those names, murderer. I really can't get mad at it. If you look at it from a serial killer's perspective or a psychopathic perspective, you kind of can fall along those lines. I think the only thing that separates us from being that is that we have morals, we have a heart, we have some type of compassion for mankind. I mean, the description that fits let's say a serial killer, for example, they go after one specific target, they have who they're going after, there's a certain type of people, and they kill them. There was no different from that aspect from the job that we have. We're going after a certain group, class of people. They look a certain way, they fit this description, and we kill them repeatedly over, and we hunt these people. So from that, if you look at it like that, there really is no separation except for the fact that I've been told to do it. I feel that it's right. I mean, I guess. And there's some compassion about it. But you kind of almost have to be off your rocker, I think, a little bit to even pursue that job. No sane person, no Yale graduate, no Harvard graduate graduates and says, you know what, I want to go apply my life, everything I've learned, to be a sniper in the military. You just don't hear about it.
Yeah, but you want to know something? We touched base on this earlier. We were talking about that Charlie Sheen movie, Navy SEALs, right? And how Hollywood glamorizes, snipers and being a Navy SEAL, an Army Ranger, a Green Beret. Is there a movie that any of us can watch that tells it exactly like it is? Because you said no sane person would ever want, nobody who's educated, nobody who literally has any sense about themselves would sign up to be a sniper knowing that they're going to see and do some of the things that you have seen and done yourself. Have you ever seen a movie out there that brings it home just truly like, this is what it is. This is what you can expect. And trust me when I tell you, you don't want no parts of this.
Maybe there's two movies, but I mean, one was back in World War II. That's Saving Private Ryan. And I would say like the opening scene, I have never been through anything like that, but I guess the intensity of you don't know if you're going to live or die, I guess from that outlook on it, I mean, you could kind of look at it that way from Saving Private Ryan, that beginning scene where they're storming the beaches of Normandy.
Yep.
And then you have Marcus Luttrell's movie, Lone Survivor. Certain aspects in that firefight, watching his friends die, that was pretty, realistic, I think. But as far as what it's like to show the truth without the Hollywood glamorization on it, glamorizing it, I don't think that there's a movie out there. I don't. And if there was, it would be, I don't know what you would rate it. It would mess certain people up. You can only be so graphic in movies and only go so far of what really goes on in war. And most of the stuff that goes on in war is rarely talked about. Just because it's sometimes it is hell, sometimes it is. Sometimes you see the most messed up stuff that it's better off not talking about for mental, spiritual, whatever reasons to cope. But to grasp and capture everything that happens in combat, there's no movie out there that does that. There's a lot of stuff that goes on that if I told people, one, you'd be looked at like you're crazy. Two, yeah, they just look at you like you're crazy. If some of the stories that happen or go on over there, came out. And I'm not saying it's like bad stuff. It's just things you never expect to see. You never, a little example. I was a new guy. My first deployment, we were in Tikrit, Iraq. And a sniper, before I was a sniper, I was just a new guy. The sniper was on a rooftop overwatching us on the ground, laying down, watching my little sector, making sure nobody comes in my sector. But there's a hut, a small house beside me off to my left, and I can hear footsteps in it and like ruckus and people just making a lot of noise and banging around. I knew they were doing something in there. I didn't take anything of it until I heard a snap and the glass break and water and a body fall or something fall. But I didn't find out till what it was after the fact was the sniper had shot a lady who was grabbing an AK, and she knew I was right there. I had no idea she was up, noticing where I was at. But he shot her. She was pregnant. And that water that I heard come out was, I guess, her water, the fluid. And the baby popped out of her stomach right there on the floor.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Split her open. The pressure, and split her open. And I'll never forget that. That's just one, and that's not even like the worst thing.
Nah, I mean, early in the conversation, I'm sitting here like with my mouth open. You were talking about how the team had to go back and they're putting parts of heads together and body parts, and they're like, well, let's just call it 5. We think it's 5 people here. Like that. You know how crazy that is?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. At the time, I mean, it doesn't seem like it then. I didn't like it. I'm not gonna say I didn't like it. I just wanted to I don't know, it stunk really bad. That's what was getting me. And it just smelled really bad. I didn't like the smell of that.
That's one of the things that Hollywood will never be able to capture.
There you go. Yeah.
We have 5 senses. So yes, you can capture the sight, you can capture the sound. But that smell has got to be.
Yeah, you never forget. Burning flesh, yeah. You never forget that. The sound of it bubbling and the smell of it, yeah. And no one's ever captured like the blood-curdling scream of someone. There's actors. Actors can only act so far, but to really get that soul scream of, this is it, my last one, I've never heard that before. I've only heard it over there. I've never heard it on film. But once you hear it, you never forget it, though.
Random question for you. Is there anything that they all have in common? Like when that bullet hit, if they're still alive past that moment, is there anything that all of them tend to do?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. They never die with their eyes closed. They die in a state of shock. I've never seen a person, in the movies, people die and they close their eyes. I've never, ever seen someone with their eyes closed, ever. In my opinion, it looks like the look of when the bullet does hit. It's a scared look. It's an empty, scared, eyes wide open, mouth open, I'm scared look. Terrifying. But I've never seen the close my eyes, death, no.
So nobody, I mean, as much as, they believe in what they believe in, you said many of them believe in Allah, and if this is supposed to happen to me, it's going to happen to me. Despite all that, the look in their face says something different. I'm freaking terrified.
Terrifying. Terrifying. Everybody who I've ever seen die has died with a terrifying, scared look. Never one of peace or anything. No, it's always been scared. Even our guys, yeah. It's terrifying. I don't know if it's because of the pain or my belief. I think they see something. That's what it looks like. But whatever they see is not here. They look past you when they're dying. I've watched a guy die from in my hands. Not an enemy guy, but one of our guys. Helped carry a dead body out. Man, yeah, it's the same look. Same look.
Yo, it's interesting. You said they're looking past you.
Yeah.
So you don't even believe whatever they're seeing is earthly.
No.
It's
no.
not, yo, damn, I just been shot. I know I'm about to leave my fiance. I got 3 kids back home. It's not that look.
No. It's a look of, I don't know, the unknown maybe, going somewhere that, I don't know. It's just a look of, it looks scary to me. It looks scary. And it could be if your life isn't right at that moment, that's the look, you know, that's the look. If it's not right, I don't know. And I don't think any of us ever get it right. So, and I also have a belief that we all have to go to the underworld when we die. You know,
Okay,
if you're a
elaborate.
Christian,
What the hell does that mean?
the underworld, hell.
No, I know what the underworld is.
Oh, yeah.
Elaborate on the fact why you believe we all have to go there.
Because the guy that I think we're supposed to walk in his path to a degree, or we're supposed to walk in his path, he went there as well too. He went there too.
Yep, you got you. Okay.
So if we're gonna live in his image or walk in his path, why would we not be subject to that too? You know?
It's an interesting thought process.
Yeah. If the Most High sent his son, why wouldn't he send us, you know, to experience that? I think that hell is a place like earth is a big test to get to the next place. And there it's hell, fire. And in the military, we say you need to be baptized by fire, or baptism by fire, meaning, you know, being in combat, being in war. I think for us it's the same way too, in order, because we don't leave this earth unscathed and 100% clean. So to wash off all that bad stuff, spiritual baptism and fire. And once that's clear, once that's washed away, then you might have a chance to, whatever you believe in,
pearly gates.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Huh. You know, here's a random question for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're a sniper.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever engaged in hand-to-hand combat while in the military?
No.
No?
I've seen it. I've heard stories, but thankfully I never have. One of my partners, a guy who I helped train up, he was a new guy. I was like on my second deployment. He went on to do great things, but my last deployment, he stabbed a guy, but he ended up stabbing his hand in the process. I think going for him, then he stabbed his hand, but the knife went through his hand and got the guy as he was trying to, I don't know, throw him out the window. I've heard that. And then my last deployment, when we were pinned down with the Chechen sniper, I heard a story. They were doing hand grenades, like danger close, and painting Picasso pictures on the side of the embankment with hand grenades of people, and somebody beating someone in the head with their helmet. I know guys who have been in hand-to-hand combat, but me personally, no.
Okay, so forget about over there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just talk here, right here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best method of protecting yourself if you get caught up in an altercation in the street?
Best method?
Mm-hmm.
Walk away if you can.
I love that.
Yeah, best method, because you just never know what that other person is capable of doing. You don't know their mindset. That may be their last straw, and they have nothing else to lose, or they feel that way. And yeah, best thing you can do is, you know, try to ignore it, walk away. And if you are capable of defending yourself and you know how to do stuff, even more so, because what you are going to do to that person, you can go to jail for. If it's not, it depends on how the courts look at it. But if it comes down to it and you have to defend yourself, if you don't have a gun or a knife, you know, just probably looking to carrying something, even if it's pepper spray. I'm not a big thing about pepper spray, but your best line of defense is to always walk away. If you can't, I would study just vital portions of the body that there's no matter the amount of muscle you have around it, if you hit this point, they'll feel it. And that's from the groin to the solar plexus to the throat, trachea, eye gouging. Fighting shouldn't be, if you're in defense for yourself, it should never be, 1, a fair fight, 2, polite. It should be gritty, dirty, and like I tell my son, if you have to, never mind. If you get into a fight, bring me back home an eyeball. It should be But his first line of defense is always walk away, go seek help, tell a teacher. But if someone keeps messing with you, bring me back home an eyeball.
That's crazy.
That's how I felt.
That's crazy. And the fact that you said it should never be a fair fight.
Never, never, never.
Wow.
I think we didn't sign a contract to fight in the first place. And for me to follow your rules, I kind of feel, it's going to sound like weird, but like beneath you at that point, because you didn't ask me what made you think that I was going to play by your rules. I have a whole different set of rules. So to have you, or for someone to want a fair fight would be like you own me already by saying, we're going to do it this way. I don't want to do it that way. If there's a brick or a rock or anything, if I'm in a car and you want me to get out and I smash you with my car, I won. You know, that's all I care about.
That's hard. Wow. Okay. You know, and I'm just picking your brain. Mm-hmm. We live here in the States, and there has been a rise in home invasions.
Yeah.
It is now pretty much at epidemic proportions. What's the best weapon for protecting yourself in your home?
Me personally, I have an AR-15, AK-47, even have a Draco. I have a micro Draco. I have too many pistols to count, sniper rifles, shotguns. I would do shotgun and an AR. Okay. Pistol too, but I think for a female like my wife, she's 5 foot, 98 pounds on a good day. But I told her, like, if anything were to happen, because she is a smaller female, the shotgun is going to blow her back. Most of the guns I have will, you know, to be able to accurately keep hitting something at a rapid pace would be kind of hard for her. But if you put the buttstock up against the bed or the back of the wall, and when you barricade yourself inside our little safe area, anything that comes through that doorway, the fatal funnel, the buttstock back up against the wall or the headboard, and you just let her rip. And that recoil goes, you don't feel the recoil. It's just, I would, you know, suggest that. But best line of defense, if you want to make it count, shotgun and an AR-15. AR-15s are just dangerous when it comes to over-penetration. Going through walls and sheetrock and stuff like that, you're going to hit somebody in the other room. That's I guess the bad part of it. Or you can have a shotgun, 20-gauge shotgun, 12-gauge may be too much for some people. But birdshot, pepper him up a little bit, it'd probably kill him. But you put a slug in it, then you're just looking to take chunks off. And it's how you want to deal with that situation. If you want to take chunks off, use a slug. If you just want to pepper him up and politely kill him, use a birdshot. If that's how you say it, I don't, yeah, but.
Oh man, so yeah, okay, so coming straight from the sergeant's mouth, if you're looking to protect your home, AR-15 or shotgun. You're not recommending a handgun.
Most people aren't good with handguns like that. I feel that rifles and long guns are better because I have 2 points of contact, and it's more of a, I don't know, it feels better for me. It feels better for me. But when you have a little cannon in your hands and you may not be accustomed to shooting, that recoil may not be what you expect, throw you off target more. I mean, it depends on what handgun you have too. 9mm are perfect. You could get away with the 9mm, but everyone doesn't, they're not as good as they think they are with the handgun. Mm-hmm. There's a lot, even guys that I know training are not as good as we thought we were, you know, when it comes to a handgun.
Shotgun,
yeah.
And politely kill him, pepper him up a little bit.
Yeah, you pepper some up with a shotgun. You don't even have to aim that good. I grew up shooting shotguns with my granddad, and when I was a kid, I was not a great shot, but it was hard to miss something when you have 100 little BBs, you know, coming out at once, as opposed to one little, pill projectile coming out. But shotguns are always good. Multiple home invaders, AR-15, with a nice light on it. Don't forget a light. A lot of people forget there's a big topic about that going on now in the gun community. Old school guys don't like to have a weapons light, a light on their weapon. They feel that it's unnecessary. I'm totally against that. Put a light on it, because most home invasions happen at nighttime. If you break into my home, I got a 800,000 lumen light or whatever that's gonna, blind you, and I can, defend myself without you don't see anything. You're just blinded. Your first reaction is gonna be to do that, and then I could just do what I want with you, make sure my shots count.
You put up a tweet. You said, I'd rather take my chances at killing an intruder in my house than calling the cops. I call them afterwards and let them clean up the mess, because I don't like to touch dead bodies.
I hate it. I seriously, I don't like touching dead animals either. That's one of the reasons why I think I stopped or don't hunt. I don't like to hunt. And I don't eat meat, but I don't like touching dead bodies. It's something, I don't know, weird about it to me. But I'd rather take my chances doing that, because have you seen these videos of the cops coming in and shooting the homeowner or the homeowner's friend, and they're lighting these people up, 30 rounds, or the guy with an acorn.
Yep.
I'm scared to call the cops.
Hold on, you saw that acorn video?
Yeah, I'm scared to call the cops to have an acorn fall and I get lit up. No.
Did you see him drop and roll?
Twice. He rolled twice. That's a lot of momentum. That's too much. That was no.
And then, what's the craziest part? He shot his own car up.
Yeah. With somebody in it.
With somebody in it. It was only the grace of God that dude who was sitting in the car unarmed and handcuffed did not get lit up.
I wonder if he's going to sue. I would.
Of course. You know good and well.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah.
I mean,
my life's not the same. I got PTSD, I don't know, but I would definitely, I won the lottery.
I think that officer has since left the force. As he should. Whether it was in by his own doing or they kind of politely escorted him out the door. It's like, my brother, like.
It's a liability. It's a lie. I'm like, I get there's a reason why you should call the cops, but nighttime, rookie cop, all he knows is home intruder, home invasion, and he sees my shadow, running butt naked around the house. He's going to probably light me up. I was like, no, that's just sleep naked. I'm not the bad guy. I'd rather take care of it myself.
Yo, you want to know something? I'm speaking to you, and I was doing research because I just wanted to know, and I actually found out that there are. I was looking at the 10 deadliest snipers of all time. These guys have hundreds of kills.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize they were female snipers.
Yeah. What's her name? How did I forget that? Not Simo Haya. No.
Okay, I'm looking at a woman. Tell me if you know her name. Her name, Lidmila Pavlichenko?
Pavlichenko.
You know her?
Yeah. I don't know her, obviously.
But you know of her?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. We learn about all this in sniper school. I forget what week it is, but you do a history of some of the greatest snipers from, even Carlos Hathcock, Simo Haya, Vasily Zaitsev. I can't pronounce his last name.
It's Zaitsev.
Zaitsev. Yep. We learned
225 kills.
Yeah.
Do you like, even this woman, and I bring her up because number one, she's a woman, but the woman got how many confirmed kills you got? 33?
33 with a sniper rifle. Yeah.
Okay, with a sniper rifle. We don't know how many when you were machine gunners. This woman has 309 confirmed kills.
That's insane.
Like understand, she 10x'd you.
Oh yeah. That's yeah. Ain't nothing much to say about it. That's props to her. But I'll tell you what, snipers, from my opinion, I think females make some of the best ones.
Why?
The way they think, they're more, I noticed it in my wife. They're more particular about things, observant about certain things that we as men may not be observant to. They're more, I'm more prone to act on, I don't know, aggression, or act on something that a woman, a female may not, react towards. They think differently, just genetically, scientifically, whatever you want to call it. They just are wired differently. That makes them calmer in certain situations, more relaxed. Their thought process is different. Just overall, I think a calmer sniper would be a female.
You know, it's interesting because I saw an interview you did even before I ever met you, with Patrick Bet-David, I believe. And he was asking, like, what is, because we all see the movies, and again, we're going back to the movies, but it's the truth. Like, most of us, we get our images of, snipers from the movies, and you think they're these big, tough, burly guys, and, after work, everybody's going out slamming, a dozen beers down their throat. And he was asking you, like, what are some of the common traits that you see between all snipers? And you said many of them are quiet.
Yeah, those are hippies. Like, they remind me, most of the guys that hippie-like. I just saw a picture of my spotter like 3 days ago. He uploaded a picture, and he looks like a surfer from San Francisco, San Diego, dyed his hair, long hair, choke collar, shark tooth, smokes weed. So it's just, most of them, my first sniper guy who trained me up, team leader, he went on to be a surfer. He was from California. I had a country guy. He was like from Alabama or something like that, but he was kind of off his rocker a little bit. But most of them are calm, quiet, nerdy, frail looking. If you saw them, most of the guys that I serve with, they would look like frail, just nerds. They're like, yeah, frail little nerds.
And I bring this up only because you said you think women make great snipers, and their calm demeanor, their ability not to react.
Yeah.
Whereas men, that's our first impulse is to react. You might have a point there, judging, all of the male snipers that you feel were great at their job.
Yeah, yeah. But at the end of the day, I think that they're just calmer calmer when it comes to sniping. More relaxed. To be a sniper is more about patience. And I personally don't believe we have that much patience as men. And everybody who I knew as a sniper, myself included, we all have ADD or ADHD. So I don't know if that's like a trait they look for, but the only thing that keeps us, I guess, where you can kind of lock in was sniping, where you can kind of like mellow out. But it's not innate. It's not what we have in us. I think for women, it's just different. They're more patient, calm, caring. That motherly trait. What makes a good mother makes a good sniper. The protection, the wanting to look out for your children, as a sniper's case, looking out for the squad. That motherly love of I'll sacrifice my life to protect my flock, my children. That aspect in it would make them a really good sniper as well.
Yeah, I'm just so shocked that there's a woman out there with over 300 kills under her belt. Like, when I researched it, I literally was in shock.
There's somebody with more than that, though.
A female?
I don't know if it's a female.
Oh.
No, it's not a female. I think it's just 500 something.
Well, put it this way.
Yeah.
I found a couple. Simo High has 500 plus kills.
That's the one. Yep.
That's crazy.
It is. I don't know how you cope with that after the fact. I don't know. I think it's what they were fighting for, what they believed they were fighting for, played a huge role in their mental state. I think they were really fighting for something. Their homeland from being invaded and overrun and taken over, as opposed to us. Some Saudis flew a couple of planes into the buildings, and we went after countries who were not Saudi. But then Saudi has all the oil, so you kind of don't want to go after Big Dad who controls all the oil. So you go after someone else.
It's interesting because I asked you, do you got, if you are a kid growing up and you're playing ball, um, just in the park, you know, one day you want to become Jordan, you want to become LeBron, you want to become Kobe, you have somebody who you look up to. And I asked you, who was that guy for you? And you said Carlos Havecock. I think that's his name. You know, and early in the conversation, you mentioned patience. And, you know, I had never heard of Carlos prior to our conversation. And once you mentioned his name, I just wanted to learn about this guy. I don't know if this is hype or not, but I saw a documentary on this guy, and they said that he would move something like 12 inches an hour, like literally 12 inches per hour to get his target. Even the animals that were around him didn't realize that there was literally a sniper there because he was so patient and so methodical with his movements.
That ain't me. I mean, sniper school, you have to be stalking. It was the most patient I've ever been, but it's also the biggest internal fight that I've had to have with myself, was forcing yourself to be that patient. You can't move fast. You have to, you know, sometimes you just move when the wind blows really good. Being that patient, it's not for everybody. It's the worst part of the job is doing that and sitting and waiting. The worst part of the job, and which happens to be and makes up most of the job. It's the boring part. 90% of being a sniper is absolutely just boring. You're fighting boredom and your own mind 90% of the time. The other time, 10%, 5% after that, you're taking pictures and relaying messages. The 5% remaining is you're pulling the trigger and taking a life. And
so
that
hold
comes
on,
rare.
you actually would take pictures yourself?
Yeah.
Really?
You're trained to. My line of work, I've never had to take any pictures of anything. With reconnaissance teams, I've watched them take photos, but I'm not a camera guy. Can be, but the line of work that I was doing at that time, it just wasn't. That's more of a traditional way of sniping, of take out a notepad and you can 3-dimensionally draw the target you're looking at with the distances and X, Y, and Z. There is a part of the job. You learn it in sniper school and you have to be able to pass it. Calling in airstrikes, calling in mortar strikes, helicopters. That's all a part of the job, but it makes up so little of it. Observation is probably like the biggest one. And observation is also like where you could take pictures, but I'm observing with my eyes, taking that mental snapshot and relaying the information back. And that mental snapshot could be, you could hold that picture in your mind for a week, and it's called KIMS, Keep in Memory System. So you train up on this throughout sniper school. They'll give you or hide, 3 or 4 objects or 10 objects in a field along a route that you're running. And when you get back, either that day or later on down the line in the class or in the school, they'll say, hey, what were the 5 objects that you saw or 10 objects that you saw going on that run? I need the color, description, and dimensions of them. And you'll go back and recall the items to a T. And it's just, keep a memory system. They give you things to mentally take pictures of and come back, draw it out, and
Okay, so you're home. You've been home for how long now? 13, 14 years now?
Oh my God.
You've been back a civilian?
Officially 2011 when I left Iraq from contract.
So about 12 years.
12 years.
12, 13 years.
Uh-huh.
Question for you. That whole...
It don't feel like that.
I'm sure it don't.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's weird.
That whole memory thing you just spoke about, paying attention to everything and being able to hours later come back and remember colors, dimensions, shapes. Do you still find yourself surveilling everywhere you're at?
Especially driving. Driving mainly. Driving is driving.
Okay, what do you mean by...
Just driving down the road, always observing, always looking out for stuff. Anything. I'm just a paranoid driver. I've been in, I think I used to drive Strikers, a 40-ton vehicle. through the streets of Mosul, Iraq, and being under the constant threat of IEDs and mainly IEDs. You're always on the lookout, So more paranoid driver than anything else. And I've been in a couple of accidents with a striker as well that I didn't like, and I don't want to experience again car accidents. But I've never like used my skill as far as a sniper in the civilian world other than like driving. Take that back. I left the door unlocked one time.
At your house?
At my house. And when I went to go put the key in to open the door, it had already opened up. I had turned it. No one had been in, but I did remember, okay, well, are the shoes in the right place the way I left them? Is anything I remember stuff like that. Like if anything's out of place, if a shoe is out of place, or a curtain is drawn back the wrong way. I'm like, I didn't do that. That wasn't the way it was. We take more mental images than we think we do on a day-to-day basis. Our brain just chooses to disregard it because if we kept all of it, we'd drive ourselves insane. But being able to go back and recall certain things, I think that is like the big takeaway and how I guess I see myself applying it today.
Okay. Off topic. You put a tweet out. You said China is your biggest enemy. They are out to destroy you and your precious way of life. Do you think America will ever go to war with China?
No. Not the way we are used to seeing war. I don't think so. I think it'd be more on the electronic war front, which is, I think, more dangerous. If they hacked into our power grid, let's say shut off our power grid, right? I mean, we're knocked back to the Stone Age. No one would know what to do for who knows how long. I mean, being able to find it, we get most of our information from the news, social media, things of that nature. And if you shut off our power grid, most people would be in the dark, in the blind, having no idea what's going on. And I think that amount of fear would, I think, be detrimental to a lot of our society, a lot of chaos. And you don't have to have on the ground big confrontational war. I don't think we could compete with China on the ground. And if it got to that point, I mean, we're looking at—
Correct me if I'm wrong. They have the biggest army in the world, correct?
Oh, yeah. I just think sheer numbers, we would not be able to withstand a battle with China. And based on our previous wars, just absolutely not. And both countries having intercontinental ballistic missiles, nuclear capabilities, it takes one person to feel like, hey, I'm losing this battle, I'm going to go ahead and nuke it. It could be something, like that. But I think that if China wants to do damage, they could do it without having to fire a shot. It could easily be done electronically, easily. Wow. I think our power grid is far outdated and weak. And I think that if a country wants to do anything to us, it's going to be through electronics, hacking. Russia's already been known for it. China's known for it and has the capabilities to do so. All it takes is to shut down our power grid, and it's all she wrote. Or you could just place like 20 snipers, and you could do that and hit up some power grids too, some 50 cal or something. I think there was an old story about that. I have to look it up again. They haven't caught the guy, our guys, but it was an electronic, or the power grid. They were hitting it somewhere with the sniper rifles, and they haven't figured out who did it. I have to look it up, but I'll get back to you.
I remember that story.
Yeah.
I think it was in Virginia somewhere.
Somewhere up north, yeah.
I think it was West Virginia somewhere.
I'm going to look it up.
If I can remember correctly. Are you familiar with the name Alexei Navalny?
Alexei Navalny.
He is one of the Russian, probably the biggest opposition leaders to Vladimir Putin.
That's the guy who just recently died?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I was confused I didn't know too much about him. But I saw that like he was against Putin. Mm-hmm. They killed him for it, for political reasons or whatnot.
Well, it goes a little deeper than that.
I'm not too
Let me
sure.
give you the backstory as much as I can remember. And CNN has this amazing documentary that you could see right now. It's a dope documentary. Shows this guy and why Putin was so threatened by him. But this guy was, and obviously he denies it all, but you know, this guy was previously poisoned with Novichok nerve agent. And this was somewhere, I don't know, 2019, 2018. And come to find, and he always said it was Putin that did this to me. Literally, he almost died. He was on a plane. The plane was forced to land. They took him to Berlin, and somehow or another, you know, those doctors over there were able to revive him, bring him back to life. And he did his own sting. And come to find out, one of the guys who poisoned him, you know, thought that he was talking to another guy who poisoned him. And pretty much told everything. Wow. Interestingly enough,
loose lips sink ships.
Navalny left the country. And he came back to Russia in 2021, and they locked him up. And just last week, you know, they said that they shipped him off to I don't know, some jail in the middle of nowhere in Siberia.
I've heard about, yeah.
And, you know, they said he got sick, walked, and died.
Oh, wow. No.
But the crazy thing is, his wife, she can't get his body back. They're like, we're not giving you back his body. It won't be released for another 2 weeks.
So the autopsy and...
There you go. There you go. So they're saying they're running tests.
No, they're not.
But they're waiting for this body to either decay or whatever was in it to get out of it. And they'll be able to say, look, nothing happened. You know, even our vice president, Kamala Harris, she was like, I don't care what anybody tells you. Russia is behind this.
I can believe that, yeah. I believe so. I mean, Putin used to work for the He was, you know, a commander, leader, lieutenant, something like colonel or whatever, the KGB. He was pretty high up in the KGB. So I definitely don't put it past him at all. No, not one bit. But yeah, the whole 2 week wait, I can definitely see that because the autopsy, they want whatever drugs to run out. But what would that mean though? Like, what would that mean for us? Are we trying to?
You know, I think
I just saw today, as a matter of fact, he said, I think it was Biden said Putin's gonna, or they were trying to talk about sanctions for the killing of this guy. That's right. Yeah.
They're imposing additional sanctions for sure. But again, it's political, right? We're in a highly political season. Biden and his administration is using this moment to say, look, we have to continue to send aid to the Ukraine. We can't allow Putin to win over there. So what is your thoughts on this whole Russia-Ukrainian war that's been going on now for what seems like forever?
Almost 2-3 years now.
Yeah.
I still don't believe in it. I still think Ukraine has been way overfunded. It feels like a money laundering operation, in my opinion. That's what it feels like. Seems like it's a lot of money being divvied out, and they can't account for, I forget how many billions of it over there in Ukraine. There's a lot of like yachts being bought, you know.
In the Ukraine?
Yeah.
Oh, Are you kidding me? During the war?
During the war. Zelensky and his boy, yeah. There's 3 so far, I think it's like 3 yachts that I looked up, yachts being bought, not little yachts, the real ones, that the good yachts. I don't know, it just feels weird when it comes to how much money we're sending over and how we're trying to use every little thing we can to send more money to Ukraine to keep funding this war. I mean, they're losing though. They're losing. Ukraine is losing. They just lost some territory not too long ago, last week. Last week, they're not winning. No amount of money is going to help them win this war. I just don't believe so. One, I don't think that money should be sent to another country when we have what's going on over here in our country. And it just feels like lately, this administration or the powers that be enjoy giving out money to everyone but its own people, from immigrants getting prepaid $10,000 credit cards to $100 billion to a country I've never been to in my life. I had nothing about it. And last time I checked, they weren't even a part of NATO, you know? To fight this proxy war with Russia. We've been at this war with Russia since my parents were, you know, fighting them electronically and counterintelligence. It seems like it's never stopped. But we're just trying to find new ways to, I mean, they surpassed us in hypersonic missiles to, we'll say hypersonic missiles, that technology. I don't know what we have. We could have the same thing too, but it just feels like that to me, in my opinion, if we're going to fight Russia, let's just go fight Russia. Let's get it over with and let's just go fight them. Don't lie to the American people and we want to do it to help these people out who have, I care about everybody, but I believe in taking care of your own house first before you start working on your neighbor's front yard. You know, I don't care about cutting their grass. I got roaches, you know? I got to clean my house first. If not, I'm doing myself, my own family, a disservice by investing all my energy, time, and money to helping someone else look good, feel better, or whatever, and I'm barely holding on. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, good luck to whoever, Ukraine, but been there, done that. I mean, I don't, it's a tough call. It's cold to say I don't care, but I don't. I just don't. You get tired of, I mean, go fight your war, you know, but if you want to fight Russia, then let's go fight Russia. But there would be no backing in that. The American people would not want to back that war. So you use this little company called Ukraine to do it that way. And you keep funneling money through it. And it's just, no, I don't see any purpose in it.
You know, it's interesting because Donald Trump, you know, essentially he's like, if I get back in the office, this whole sending money to other countries who are supposedly part of NATO and they don't pay their fee. He's like, if countries are not paying their fee to be part of NATO, I'm not supporting them. Let Russia go do what they want with them. Actually, I support Russia for doing it.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't encourage Russia to do anything, but I can see where there's no reason why we should be fronting 55, 60, 70% of the, you know, funding Ukraine, or funding NATO when other countries aren't even pitching in a dime. It just doesn't feel, why don't we have that luxury? I don't know. It just feels unfair. I get nothing in life is fair, but at some point you got to be held accountable for something. And if you're not contributing to the party, to the friendship, you're just a mooch. You're just mooching off of, you're a house rat, a couch rat, you know? You're just laying on my couch, eating up all my food, and I got to keep supplying for you, taking care of you. I got your back while you sit up on my couch, drinking all my good drinks and eating all my good food. I don't like that.
Okay, so what's your thoughts on what's going on in Israel and the Gaza Strip?
That's a good question. What I think, we as a country have been influenced to believe that we have to back this for religious purposes, I think. I think a lot of people may get the biblical Israel mixed up with the state of Israel. And
oh, wow.
I believe that one was founded in 1947. One has to do with, we're going back to the tablet days. Some people used to live by these laws and now they don't. I've been to Israel, and at the time when I was in Israel, I went as a Christian. I was a Christian, and I had a conversation with a friendly person out there, and I got their perspective and what they thought to be, or what their beliefs were on religion. And it was weird. I'm like, that's kind of off. You know, why do they think that Yeshua, Jesus, is burning in excrement, and his mom was a whore, and the whole story was a lie. Mary was a prostitute or whatever, and they made that story up to cover for her wrongdoings, and now we are stuck with this story. That's Israel today. That the Jesus, Yeshua that I believe in is burning in excrement. He was a troublemaker, a problem, and a thug, and that's why he rolled around with a bunch of thugs. The 12 disciples causing mayhem, and that's why they killed him. So that's just the whole separation where I think we read about Israel, Jerusalem in the Bible, but that's a totally different, separate thing from the state of Israel, which we have today. At some points, it feels like we live in the United States of Israel than we do the United States of America. Our funding, our unwavering support towards this, and I don't know why we have this unwavering support for a country that, I don't know, I can go on for days about that, but it's just weird. It's just really weird. And I think that sometimes we can be used as a long arm of another country to help progress their agenda. And sometimes I feel like America is being used that way, where we're nothing more than just an extension of some other country's arm to help do some dirty deeds in certain places like Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria and Iran and Pakistan. Yeah.
You know, interestingly enough, Israel, they're 100% still in this. You know, Hamas still has hostages, and Israel's like, we are going to continue with a full-on military attack. I believe now they're going after a city called Rafah, and take that over and feel like that's the last remaining city to really dismantle Hamas. But they're all the way in this.
Yeah.
This war does not seem to be letting up in any way, shape, or form. And, you know, Israel continues to look for support from its allies, both financially and politically.
Don't have it here. I mean, not with me. I just don't feel that there's certain ways to go about war. And I think that with what's going on, you can look at it like one or two ways. Either it's, I'm not going to say it could be, I mean, genocide. I don't know. I just feel like even our president said it. It's, you know, they're going about it probably the wrong way. And it's leaving a bad taste in people's mouths, I think. I'm all about defending yourself. I'm all about it. But I don't like to involve innocent women, children, and taking out entire lineages of people. I'm not about that. I guess I get it. If you want to kill an ideology, you got to kill it all the way. I get it, but I'm just no longer in support of that lifestyle, war like that. I think once you've done your due diligence and you've done your amount of time and killing and seen death, after a while you get tired of it. That's why Rambo moved away. You know, that's why he moved away.
Okay. You know, I want to pick your brain on a couple of tweets you put out. You said, why was Killing Mike in jail longer than the dudes who jumped the NYPD? Is that not bananas?
It is. And like I said, what agenda are we trying to fulfill at this point in this country? You know, where nothing makes sense anymore, where the laws don't even make sense. Things don't add up anymore. It's like more confusion than anything else. It's like, man, I don't know. I'm thinking about moving down to one of the 12 countries in South America and finding my way back across the border. At least I got it made. I'll walk away with it. It's a 10K job. You know, if you make it across the border as an immigrant, hey, you get 10 grand and you can kind of like, rules don't apply to you. I knew if I beat up a cop, what would happen to me? We wouldn't have this conversation right now.
Yeah.
I'd either be in the jail or in the dirt. And I'm leaning more towards in the dirt.
Nah, you said, I mean, and I believe it was part of that same tweet. You was like, yo, I love NWAs.
Yeah.
F the police. But if any of us would put our hands on a cop, we'd be under the jail.
Especially here in New York.
Yeah.
Especially, that's like, yeah, New York and LA are probably the worst. I don't say the worst, but the most strict when it comes to like law enforcement. Like, yeah, I try to keep my distance away from the NYPD and the LAPD. I don't want to talk to him.
You know, random question for you. Alec Baldwin, the actor.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar that they actually recharged him?
Recharge him? Yeah, yeah.
What is your, I mean, this guy's an actor.
Doesn't matter. Here's the thing. There should have never been live ammo whatsoever on that film. The armorer chick, the person in charge of all the weapons and guns, should have done a way better job. I think she was underqualified. 2, it was weapon safety is always a must. And I don't like when people are pointing a gun at me with the finger on the trigger. I get iffy. I don't like that. It's never really happened like that in the civilian world. And every time it did happen before my time in the civilian world, I killed that person. So it's just I don't know. Hollywood is Hollywood, but at the end of the day, whether his finger was on the trigger or not, which I believe it was, and he intentionally did pull the trigger, that's the way guns work, especially old revolvers like that. There should have never been a mix-up of live ammunition and dummy rounds. There should have never been a mix-up. Never been a mix-up. I would have never done. That just is so negligent and so stupid, to even have real bullets on a film where you're shooting guns. It's an accident bound to happen.
But do you think an actor, obviously we know he could be charged because Alec Baldwin is currently charged. But should an actor be held liable? We watch, I mean, let's just keep it real. 50% of the shows that are on TV now are cop-based.
Yeah.
Cops, robbers, espionage, whatever it might be. You can't almost turn on the TV, watch a show without somebody handling the gun, pulling the trigger. I mean, does that open a dangerous precedent that now me as an actor, I have to double check this barrel, double check the chamber to make sure there's not a live round in there?
That's scary.
It
does open up it opens up a whole new ball game of on-set procedures, I think, and what an actor is comfortable with doing anymore. An actor may not want to shoot at anybody on set anymore because that accident may happen. And if so, you can get charged with involuntary manslaughter or something.
Correct. So
it does open up a slippery slope. Do I think he should be charged? I don't know. But I also think he shouldn't have not lied about not pulling the trigger. I mean, it's obvious that he did.
But he's an actor. But he's supposed to pull the trigger. I would think. I'm like, what? To me,
yeah, you're right. Yeah,
he didn't have to say that.
And it's not his job to even check.
Correct.
As an actor, should have been.
But I think what they're getting him on is the fact that he's also an executive producer. And as an executive producer, they're held to a different standard of making sure the set is safe at all times.
Then that's a different story.
That's a different story.
Yeah, 100%. Then. Yeah, he's got to bite the bullet. It's no pun intended on that one.
But here's the crazy thing. On any given show or movie, there are multiple executive producers.
True.
It's not just one. So I'd like to see how this plays out across the board, but I just find it very interesting.
It could be a big stink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it opens up a whole nother can of worms that if I'm an actor, I'm very, very, very cautious about playing any roles where I have to pull a trigger.
Yeah.
And if I'm an executive producer, I better hire the best of the best of the best in terms of these armorers.
You have to. If anything, that's what it calls. It will cause that. A better, higher quality of hiring individuals who are qualified to do these things. Hey, it opens up a whole new thing for veterans out there, maybe, potentially.
Yeah.
Could do that.
You're absolutely right. Okay, not sure if you read this, but it just came out that military recruitment is down to its lowest numbers in over 80 years.
Good. I believe so.
A former military man saying good?
I do.
Okay, so let me just give this one statement and then take it for... there's a smaller proportion of white Americans that serve now than ever before.
Wow.
So although, the recruitment is down to the lowest it's been, there's also a smaller number of white Americans that have ever served.
Comes down to seeing the bigger picture of what we're facing right now. Everything's too political. Everything's just gotten too political, where I think the military should kind of stay away from in certain aspects of, I don't know, it's gotten way too political, and it's gotten to where if you say the wrong thing, it could cost you your job. And the wars we're fighting nowadays, no one wants to be in a 20-year war again. No one wants to have to leave their family for 20 plus years, deploying day in and day out, twice a year, once a year. And you don't know if you're going to make it back. And at the end of the day, you still don't know what you were fighting for. 20 years of fighting this war, and we're back over there again. We're back bombing at Baghdad. The same places that I fought in Iraq, we're fighting again. When I was back there contracting, the people that I watched get trained up, we're back at it doing the same stuff again. So 20 plus years of fighting, what difference really did we make? What was it for? We go back for another 20? No. I just think that the way we fight wars nowadays, it's opened everyone's eyes to, I guess, seeing it from that aspect, that 20 plus years of fighting and nothing's changed. And we couldn't even stay out of combat, out of war for 2 years. We were right back at it again as soon as we got out. Then you saw what happened in Afghanistan, how it was just a shit show of like a little Vietnam all over again. Why would anybody want to go through that when you don't feel like you're cared for at the end? You invested 20 years of your life or however many years in your life into this war. And at the end of the day, they're just like, oh, well, whatever. We're done. Leave all the stuff, give it to them so we can come back and fight them again with it, or the same equipment that we gave them. None of it makes sense. None of it feels right. And I don't blame anyone who looks at it from that perspective, that mindset, and decides, I don't want to join. I want to at least be a part of the club where they care about me at the end, where I'm going to be taken care of at the end. And that we don't have that now.
What's your thought on the southern border crisis? Abbott, he announced a military base camp that they're putting down there. Has this become a military problem?
No, it's not a military. If you look at it as an invasion, then yeah, it kind of would be a military issue. But I think that we're long past the days of really having to worry about the border. Now we're just waiting on what's going to happen because of it. And I just think that there's no way millions of people have come across the border and they're all great people. And I think if I were a terrorist or I wanted to do something bad, I'm going to ship in as many people as I can through the most legal, not even legal, the easiest way possible. The path of least resistance would be the border. And if I were a bad guy, wanted to do bad things, I would use the border as its means of gaining that access into this country. And I think we're at that point now. Now we're just going to have to sit back and wait for those sleeper cells or terror cells that are, over here to do their thing. But I 100% believe it's going to happen.
Really?
Within the next 2 years. Within the next 2 years, I'll say that. And if I'm wrong, good. But I think in the next 2 years, we're going to feel terrorist attacks here. 100%.
Okay, why is that? Because
why not?
You just believe they're coming in through the southern border?
I think they're already, they've caught known terrorists coming across the southern border. Multiple gang members, and they've caught, what was that terror cell? I think it was 19 of them they caught recently, or this year, of 19 terrorists. I think we're just at the point to where, and not everybody who's coming across is from South America or Mexico. They're from China. They're from, they're from all over the place. It's not just the southern border. They're from all over the world. And if I were a bad guy, that's exactly what I would do, is come across the border and wreak havoc the way I wanted to wreak havoc when the time is right. And you could kind of see remnants of that happening, are already starting, small little pockets of it. But I think what's going to come within the next 2 years, I don't know, it could make 9/11 look like child's play.
I hope you're wrong.
Me too.
Yeah, I hope you're wrong.
But as many people hate America, as many people that hate America right now, why wouldn't you use that opportunity to easily swoop in, come across the border? We're at war with everybody right now. The whole world, it feels like at times. We're at war with everybody. Why would you not? Why would you not? It just takes one person to strap on a suicide vest and run into a mall, or 1 in 5 of his friends say, I'm going to go to this mall, you go to this school, I'm going to go to that church, you go, and we just start that way. And 5, it would be bad, Mass confusion, but it's way more than 5 people.
It's a question for you. You did 6 deployments,
Mm-hmm.
5 of which you saw combat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening to you this entire conversation. Do you feel like you made any difference?
No. Zero. There's an old Rambo quote. Rambo said, you didn't kill for your country, you killed for yourself. And that pain, nothing's ever going to make that go away. There's a lot of truth to that. To that, looking back at it. Do I think I made a difference? We made a difference? Absolutely not. Not one bit. And you have to look back at it. What was I doing it for? What was the thrill? I thought it was a selfish thrill of, I wanted to do this. I'm doing it. Whether it's right or wrong, this was my dream, my passion. And now you just live with the after effects of it. The after effects of it. But making a difference? No.
So what do you tell somebody who is you 20 years ago?
Beware what you wish for.
Whoa.
I've thought about that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Beware what you wish for.
Mm-hmm. That'd be the only piece of advice that I would give myself or anyone. Yeah.
Okay, you have friends, you have buddies.
Mm-hmm.
You guys still talk.
Mm-hmm.
Do the majority of your people who you know spill blood for this country, do they feel like you, or do they look at you and feel like, you know what, Sergeant, you're out of your mind?
I've never been told that. They feel a lot like me. It's across the board. It's hard to look back 20 years of fighting, look back after all this time. You've had a decade to think about things. And if you were being honest with yourself, what did we do to make a difference? We killed bin Laden. We killed Saddam. Was there for that? Well, I went back to go see when I was contracting where he got hung at. Wasn't there when they killed Saddam. We got Saddam, we got bin Laden. I was there for al-Zakari, the #1 terrorist at the time, leader in Iraq.
Yep.
I was part of that mission. I've been on multiple missions going after the #1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys, killed those guys. And that very next day, it's another #1 guy and another #1 guy. Fast forward to 2024, there's another #1 guy, another #1 guy, to this day. So we've killed a lot of #1 guys, throughout my career. And looking back at it, my son can turn on the news and see, Hezbollah and the Houthis and the #1 guy here and there, and in the same places where Dad fought. So what difference did I make if my son at 7 can turn on the TV, well, Dad was fighting there, there's still a war going on there. Then what impact did I do?
Has your son gotten old enough to ask you about your former profession?
He has. He doesn't get it. He doesn't
get it yet.
No, he doesn't. He's asked what war is. And that was hard to explain. I was like, I don't know. It's where people go fight. And he's like, oh, you fought over there? And we're watching the news. And I was like, yeah, I fought over there. And that was about as far as the conversation went. He just looked at it, and he asked his mom every once in a while, did Dad have to fight? Or does Dad know these guys if he sees a guy in a uniform? Or does he know Hezbollah? Or I'm like, no. But he doesn't get the concept of it yet. He doesn't really get the concept, which is a good thing, but it's also hard to explain when you think about it. How do you explain that? What is war? What is that?
Mm-hmm.
Two people, 2 countries have a disagreement, and they go kill each other about it? That's it's kind of stupid if you think about it.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know your grandfather used to take you out shooting. Both of your parents were in the Army, served in counterintelligence. You went to the Army, and you told me out of your own mouth, you don't want your son to go. How do you stop it? His
That's the
entire family legacy has been protect, serve, and war.
Yeah, that's the nightmare. That's the nightmare. I think the easiest way to deter him is to let him see dad when dad's not at his best. That's the easiest way. No one ever shows that part, or you rarely get a chance to see it. What is dad crying about right now? Or why did dad wake up that way? What happened? You know, being vulnerable to open up to my son that way, to show him, I've had times where it was like, that was pretty fun. I used to jump out of planes, and we live near an Air Force base, and we see a C-130 or AC-130 or C-17 fly overhead, and I'll tell him, dad's jumped out of those, and 9 times out of 10, he's just like, oh, wow, cool, don't really care. But he sees that, but then he also sees the times when some nights just aren't the good nights, We can't control our dreams, and he's seen that too, of the vulnerable side, the side that dad doesn't talk about much, and the side that no one outside my house has ever seen. He gets a chance to witness that and see that, So I think having that perspective, hopefully, and me telling him that if I'm dead, I will resurrect myself and come back and whip his ass if I ever see him put on that uniform. Won't do it.
So you are that adamant
Very.
that you don't want your son to enlist.
Very.
So
100%.
when because I just literally told you about that article that came out that said there are fewer people enlisting today than in the last 80 years.
Yeah.
For you, you're like, great.
I care about this more than anything else. Yeah, I care about that. I don't want to. It's hard. You can't describe someone's mental state. You can't describe what someone's thoughts are, and have them kind of understand it. You can a little bit, but being able to save someone's that I see the innocence in him now. Not being able to see that, knowing that I could have prevented that, I'm like, I told you so. I think. Yeah, I don't want him to go through what I had to go through, and will continue to have to go through for the rest of my life until the day I die. I'm 100% certain about it. I don't want him to have to go through that. Go be a nerd, a dentist or something. I don't know. Be something. Just don't follow my footsteps. I don't ever want him to follow my, because I did a lot of stuff that. I tripped up a lot and I fell a lot, You can walk beside me in certain cases, but don't follow my footsteps. I'll guide you, and you can look at what dad's footsteps are doing by walking beside me, but to walk behind me and follow, I don't want him to do that.
So when you see commercials, Few Good Men, The Few, The Proud, all of those things, what do you do? Do you just shake your head?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Son of a bitch got me that way. Yeah. That's how it got me. Yeah. I don't. 17-year-old kids, I just think there's a reason why they pick at that age. 17, there's a cutoff, mid-30s. There's a reason for that. You get them when they're vulnerable. You get them when they're weak, right out of mom's and dad's home, and you're not thinking straight. You just want to go be a man. That's all you want. That's what I was in search for, I guess. Also, want to be a man, and you go do man stuff. But there's other ways to be a man too, though. And it doesn't always have to entail to be the best man. I have to go be the strongest, the deadliest, the most badass dude. No, I don't believe that either. But being able to save my son's mental state would be my biggest accomplishment in life. Not having him to live through what I lived through and what I have to live through. Being able to spare him from that would be my greatest accomplishment. There's going to be hard times regardless in life, but some of those hard times can be preventable. And one of them is just not going to war. Don't go to war. It's literally that simple. You don't have to.
I really hope your son, as he matures, gets to come back and watch this particular segment. You just talking from a father's standpoint, because as a parent, that's our job, is to protect, our children, and I think it's such a wonderful thing, to hear you sit and talk with so much love for your son and how you want to protect his mental and have him grow up like, go be a nerd, go do, you don't have to do this. And I think that that's truly admirable on your part. Sergeant Nick.
Almost got me dropping one little water pellet out my eye for a second, man. They don't do that.
Nah, I think you're going to have a bunch of people dropping, some water. Honestly, I was just sitting here listening to you and you caught me. I'm like, I was like, I wish. Because these are those things, you get older, our parents get older. You don't forget, you don't remember all of these moments. So I'm happy that this, in your case, is being captured on film.
Yeah. Really
your son can really go back one day and listen to his dad's words when he wasn't in the room, and just how much love that his dad had for him. I think that that's super dope, man.
I appreciate it, for real.
But again, man, I always tell you, I thank you for your service. I think that you are truly inspirational. I think that you are someone who, we all come from the streets, and I love when people who are about that life, like truly about that life, whether it's in the street, no matter what, and they're man enough to say, yo, this ain't it.
It ain't, yeah.
This is not. I know what I can do.
But why?
Yeah, you just walk away.
Yeah. That's crazy you brought that up. I had that conversation with my son yesterday. We went to the park, and dad's brain goes off. I'm like, if anybody does this to you, well, but my wife had looked at me and I was like, you know what? Take that back. Just walk away. And that put me back into my place of, it is so much easier to walk away. That's how you see it. It's so much easier. You never know what you're up against, you never know. You never know.
Well, much love, my brother.
Always.
Continue respect, and I can't wait till we do this again.
Always. I enjoyed it.
Peace and love. On behalf of myself and the entire VladTV audience, I tell you thank you, and I look forward to next time.
Thank you.